Good morning. There's the red light. This may be a little shorter than the other programs. We'll pick it up again tomorrow, wherever I get to. I don't have superior self service here. I'm in a basement, so it's not perfect. But I have to get to the church here in a few minutes, so this may be a little short, but whatever it is, my hair's sticking out. What a deal. uh, Good morning, Janice. However far I get, we'll pick up in the morning. I don't have as much time as I usually do. We'll just kind of go back a few verses and just recap where we are. We're in chapter 3, the book of the prophet Jeremiah. Just back up to yesterday's lesson, and it says that beginning of verse 16, and it shall come to pass when ye be multiplied and increased in the land in those days, saith the Lord, they shall say no more the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done any more. That seems pretty emphatic. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations shall be gathered unto it, to the name of the Lord, to Jerusalem, neither shall they walk any more after the imagination of their evil heart. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north, to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. But I said, how shall I put thee among the children, and give thee a pleasant land, a goodly heritage in the hosts of nations? And I said, thou shalt call me my father, and shalt not turn away from me. It brings us up to today, verse 20. Surely as a wife treacherously departeth from her husband. I think I was married to her. I don't know. Can't remember. I'm sorry. I have too much fun. I realize that. Surely as a wife treacherously departeth from her husband, so have ye dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. Remember, idolatry is always compared to spiritual adultery. It's seen as a sexual sin. It is seen as committing adultery against a spouse, in this case with Israel, the wife, and God as the husband. It's saying you're committing adultery against me by worshiping these other gods. You're cheating on me, in other words. That runs throughout the scriptures, Old Testament and New. Idolatry is the same as fornication. Only it's worse than fornication, because fornication, after a while, it can warp your mind. But it mainly is a sin against our bodies, against my body, against the body of whoever I'm with. But idolatry is a sin committed against the soul and the other souls that you're with when you do it. It has eternal consequences. As our Catholic friends would say, it's not a temporal sin, it is a mortal sin, because we've turned away from the only God there is to worship sticks and stones and stumps and pictures that represent devils. A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping and supplications of the children of Israel. God hears them worshiping their foreign gods in the high places and in the groves. You know, it all started at Babel, or Babel, whatever you want to call it, Tower of Babel. They said, let us build a tower that will reach unto heaven. And it was a ziggurat, and it was made for astrology, for forecasting the future and getting signs from the stars. And that was the beginning of it. That's Mystery Babylon in chapter 17 of Revelation. It all ties back to Babylon. All false worship originated in Babylon since the flood. God hears Israel and now Judah weeping and crying upon these mountains for their gods that are no gods at all. They're not even real. They're real in the sense that they're devils, but they don't have power like God. All they can do is imitate God and fool people. A voice was heard upon the high places, weeping in supplication of the children of Israel, for they have perverted their way, and they have forgotten the Lord their God. Forgot all about me. They're worshiping somebody else. Well, I walked 2 miles and I took a shower and I even shaved and put on a tie, but my brain doesn't seem to be working. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I hadn't had enough coffee. I don't know. I just knew that this would probably be the only time today that I could come to you, so I wanted to do it. They've perverted their way. They have forgotten the Lord their God. The husband is saying, "You're too busy, woman, running around with other men to take care of me. I don't even enter your mind. I wonder if I ever cross your mind. I wonder if you ever think of me." And they don't. And this is what we see today, boys and girls. This is what we see. This is what we have. We have the majority of the people in the world, the vast majority of the people in the world who don't care about God, who don't know about God, who don't think about God. They're off chasing other gods. They're lovers. And then he says, "Return, you backsliding children, and I will heal your backslidings." He's saying, just come back to me and I'll take care of you. He says that to us today. "I will heal your backslidings. Behold, we come unto thee, for thou art the Lord our God." That's what they say, but they're out worshiping on the high hills. They're saying, "We're coming to you, God," but they're not talking to the God who made everything, the God who lives forever. They're talking to their idols. Verse 23, "Truly in vain is salvation hoped for from the hills and from the multitude of mountains. Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel." A handful of people are saying, "Hey, you can call out to God from the groves and from the mountains and before your stumps and your stocks, but he's not going to answer you. And those gods you're calling to can't help you at all." Only the Lord our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of David, only the God of Israel can save Israel. And then these few who believe are saying in verse 24, "For shame hath devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth. Their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. We lie down in our shame, and our confusion covereth us. For we have sinned against the Lord our God, we and our fathers, from our youth even unto this day." That was the cry of good King Josiah, remember? When he was a young man, they were digging in the wall in the temple, and they found a copy of the law, and they read it to him, and he'd never heard it before. And he was the king of Judah, and he rent his garments, and he cried, and he wept, and he begged God to have mercy on him. We lie down in our shame, and our confusion covereth us, for we have sinned against the Lord our God, we and our fathers, from our youth even unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God. And that's where we are, beloved. The United States, Europe, wherever the name of Christ was spoken in days of old. We have sinned against the Lord our God from our youth unto this day, and have not obeyed the voice of the Lord our God. Now, there's plenty of Christians who are, but they're not here, not in bulk. You know, you get to shopping at Sam's Club and Costco, you start thinking about bulk, not in great numbers. You have a remnant church here in the United States. There's a handful of people here and a handful of people there who worship the God of the Bible. They're few and far between. Dr. Adrian and I seek them out and go to their churches and talk to them. And a lot of times when we go to their churches, we're talking to a very small number of people who go to those churches, because these are the ones who came out to hear the promises of God and to cry and beg for revival. Now in China, the church is booming. In Iran, the church is growing. In Africa, the church is growing. But not here. Why? Because we're seeking salvation from the hills and from the mountains. We're seeking salvation everywhere but from the God who lives forever, revealed in the Bible as the Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. That's why we've dealt treacherously with the Lord, and he won't hear us. He will not hear you while you're worshiping an idol. He will not listen. He will not answer. He'll say, let your gods deliver you if you think they can. I ain't lifting a finger until you return to me, O backsliding children. I don't know how much plainer it could be. I love all y'all. I'm sorry for the short message. I'm sorry that I'm a little washed out this morning and a little harried. We got 3 services today. I love all of you. I'll talk to you soon.